Christ, so it's been a while since I made a video. I don't even have an excuse, so I'm just going to blame PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Kind of ironic that. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of COD recently, and I thought I'd make a video talking about everything that's bad about it. Because the last time I did this in a video, it did quite well for my channel, to be honest. Actually, it didn't, but let's move past that. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this.
Hell nah, I ain't sleep today, but I'ma be okay. Miss my family on the east, but fuck it, I can't leave LA.
I feel like that transition screen I've just put in the video has annoyed someone. So let me get this straight. I put the quotation marks in there because this is what people say every single year, but then they'll buy COD every year and pre-order it and all that just to get the pre-order bonuses. I mean, I do exactly the same thing, so I've got no ground to stand on here. But the thing with Call of Duty is it's the exact same game, or not the exact same game, but it's similar every single year, right? And that is a problem, especially if you've been playing Call of Duty as long as I have. And to be honest, that's not even that long, right? So in Call of Duty, if you've never played it, and that's, well, if you're watching a YouTube video and you've never played Call of Duty, then I'm not entirely sure what you're doing. I mean, everybody's played at least one match of Call of Duty, right? And if you haven't, then you're probably lying to yourself, unless you don't play any games and you're 40 years old watching this, but again, I can't really see that happening. But the thing with Call of Duty, right, is the aim is just to kill as many people as you can and try and win the match, right? And it depends what you're saying, but basically that's what you're trying to do, right? And when you rank up in the game, you can like prestige in that, and if you prestige, you lose all the guns and you do it again. Now, the problem with multiplayer in Call of Duty is people generally prestige like once or twice, and then they don't carry on doing it because they just want to use all the guns they've got and not have to do it all again and level up to get them again, right? Now, the problem with bringing out a new Call of Duty is it feels exactly the same. I mean, I could go back and play Black Ops 1 and it would play literally exactly the same as Black Ops 2, right? And both of those games are pretty good, but that's when people enjoyed playing COD, right? And now everyone's moving to different games, everyone's playing H1Z1 or Battlegrounds and that, and the problem with COD is it's exactly the same as it was like 3 or 4 years ago. And going back to the prestiging, some people just play this game and they just run around and get kills just for the fun of doing it, and they don't want to level up at all. And bringing out a new COD just feels like prestiging, you know? You just start at level 1 and it's basically the same game. Now, I can't really speak for everyone here because I know this wasn't a very liked game, but Call of Duty Advanced Warfare was completely different to Call of Duty Ghosts, right? And Ghost came out in 2013, I believe, and Advanced Warfare came out in 2014, if that was correct, because it came out the year after. Now, the thing with Advanced Warfare is it was completely different to Call of Duty Ghosts, right? You had all of the advanced movement and that, and everyone was loving it for the first like 3 months, I want to say. Now, after that, everyone was kind of tired of the jumping around and that, and they just wanted to just play normal COD again, right? So they went back to, I want to say, Black Ops 2 at this point. Now, the problem with that is it's still the same game. Now, the problem with that is no one's playing the most recent one and everyone's going back to the old one, and there's only so many years you can do that. Now, with Call of Duty Ghosts, everyone went back to Black Ops 2 just because they didn't like the game, and they were like, this is the same game every year and that's kind of why I think the developers made futuristic COD, because people were complaining that COD was the same game every single year. And another reason I think people go back to the old CODs and that is because they just don't want to do the leveling up again on a game that feels exactly the same to the one that came out the year before. So why would they just level up and play the new COD if they could just go back and play the old one and have all the guns unlocked again? Because let's be real, you basically get the same guns in every single COD, unless you're playing Advanced Warfare, you've got some laser guns and that, Jesus Christ. But still, you get the point, right?
Like, what's next, what's that, what's up? I just want chill, drink, smoke, fuck.
Now, I saw a tweet about Call of Duty DLC the other day, and it was from, I think, Prestigious Key, but I may be wrong there, and if you don't know who that is, he's a YouTuber who makes like Call of Duty content. But I saw a tweet, right, and he was talking about how the DLC is no longer as good as it was back in like Modern Warfare 3 days. And what I mean by that is the DLC that's coming out for World War II this year is going to be the same as it was for like the past, I want to say like 5 CODs, because since Black Ops 2 you've had like 4 multiplayer maps come out, and then you've had 1 zombies map, right? And in Call of Duty Ghost, which was the next COD, you had 4 multiplayer maps, and you had the Extinctions game mode, which was basically their version of zombies. I know it wasn't zombies at all, but it was just like a third game mode that they wanted to make, I suppose. And then after that you had Advanced Warfare, which did exactly the same thing with the DLC. We had Exo Zombies instead. Then obviously you had Black Ops 3, which did exactly the same thing as Black Ops 2. And then you had Infinite Warfare, which tried to do it as well. And now World War 2 is basically getting the same DLC. I mean, I think there's 3 multiplayer maps this time around, and then 1 map which is for the war mode, which everyone's pretty angry about, if I'm honest, because you're paying literally the same price for the DLC and you're getting like, what, 1 map less. Because let's be real, at the end of the day, who wants to play War all day, you know? I mean, War's a fun game mode, don't get me wrong, but it's just the fact they've taken away one of the maps that you would be getting, which you could play in like a normal playlist, and replaced it, right? And that's what people were angry about. And it's just the fact that not everyone plays War, and I know not everyone plays Zombies as well, but that's what it's been for the past like 3 or 4 years now. And with a game which had very limited maps to start off with, that's pretty bad if I'm honest. Now don't even get me started on the price of this DLC, Christ. I mean, as soon as the game comes out, you've got the option to buy a season pass. I think one of the versions comes with it, and that'll set you back an extra 45 quid, I think, maybe 40. I think it's 40 quid, and they're advertising it like, oh yeah, you can get all the DLC maps now for one price. And I suppose it's good if you know you're going to buy all the DLCs, but you end up saving like a £5 anyway, right? And the amount of times I bought a season pass for a COD game and then got bored of it like halfway through the year and have had no like will to play the DLC, it's just unbelievable. I think Advanced Warfare, I enjoyed the DLC, so I'm going to leave that one out. But with Call of Duty Ghosts, I mean, I played the multiplayer the whole year because I just enjoyed playing that game. But I just got bored of the like Extinction game mode, right? And the thing with Black Ops 2 is I was really excited for every DLC to come out, right? Because the Zombies map was just good every single time. I remember playing that, like as soon as the DLC would come out, I'd just play the Zombies map for like a month straight before I tried anything else. But with Ghosts, if a DLC just came out, then I just wouldn't want to play it, right? And I feel like that's what happens with most people who buy the season pass. Maybe I'm completely incorrect here, but that's just what I think. And that's kind of the reason I passed on like the last 3 season passes. The last 2 season passes, because I got the Black Ops 3 one, and that was another one I got kind of bored with because the zombies in that was just terrible. And I'm pretty sure most of the other people did as well, and that's kind of why I think they added the supply drop weapons to Black Ops 3, because they knew that would be a way to make money.
Anytime I'm second place is when I'm at my second place. Make 300 then double that, I guess you call that second base.
Right, okay, so we got the supply drops next. Jesus Christ. Right, so microtransactions are, I want to say, part of most AAA games now. We've got FIFA, we've got COD, we've got Counter-Strike. Jeez, I dread to think how much I spent on Counter-Strike. But we've got the microtransactions, right? And if you don't know what they are, which you probably do, but I'm just going to explain it anyway to get the length of this video up. Microtransactions are where you spend real money on in-game items to just have better items, really. So in COD, that's obviously weapon variants. In FIFA, that's new players and that. And in Counter-Strike, that's like weapon skins and that, like camos would be in Call of Duty. Now in COD, they've started putting weapons in which you can only get from these supply drops or just spending real money on the game. Now you don't have to spend real money on the game, but at the same time, if you want to get the weapons, it's strongly advised. I mean, in Black Ops 3, for example, you could save up 30 crypto keys, which you could just get from playing the game, and then you could buy 1 rare supply drop, right? Or you could just buy 1 rare supply drop for like £2, I think it was. And to get 30 crypto keys, I want to say you'd have to play multiplayer for a solid 2.5 to 3 hours at least, right? And that's kind of what encourages people just to buy the supply drops, because they see these YouTubers unboxing like 100 at a time, and then they think that if they want the weapons as well, then they should do exactly the same thing. And that's the problem with supply drops, right? Because they're just so hard to earn, and at the same time, if you want to pay for them, you can just get them instantly, but they cost a fortune as well, Christ. I mean, I'm glad to say I've never spent a single penny on a supply drop, but at the same time, I've spent a lot on Counter-Strike, and I really don't want to think about this. But you get my point, right? It's a lot easier to get the weapons you want if you spend money on supply drops, or if you just have all the time in the world, you can just sweat domination all day and just earn as many crypto keys as possible. Now, supply drops never really were a problem. I mean, they were in Advanced Warfare, but in Black Ops 3, they weren't a problem until about, I want to say 2 months into the game's life cycle, which is when they started adding weapons in. So when you can get weapons from supply drops, which are, I don't want to say overpowered, but when you can just get weapons from supply drops, really, that's when the game starts to become pay to win. Now, in games like Counter-Strike, you've got skins, right, which do absolutely nothing apart from make the gun look cool. But in Call of Duty, they add weapons to the supply drops, right, which you can't get from ranking up in the game. You can't get from like playing the game normally, but you have to get them from supply drops. Now, that is pretty bad, to be honest with you, and it means that someone can have a weapon that you don't, so there's no chance of you being able to outgun someone if they've got a better weapon than yours, which is quite bad. And I'm not entirely sure how relevant this is. A few months ago, Call of Duty, or Activision, sorry, got exposed for, in Black Ops 3, if there was a weapon that you were looking at or something, or the game thought you wanted, then it would match you up with people who had that weapon, right? So you'd run around the map, see them dropping it, and you just instantly think, wow, everyone has this weapon, right? When in reality, that's not what is true, right? And hardly anybody has these weapons. But they kind of like want you to be able to pick up this weapon and see how good it is, and then spend money on supply drops and try and get that weapon. And if I remember, I'll link a video that explains this down in the comments. It might be a drifter video or a prestigious key video. I may be completely wrong when I say that, but I think it's one of those two. And they explain it a lot better than I did just then. But you get the point, right? If you don't have a weapon and the game thinks you want it, then it will match you up with people that have that weapon in order to get you to spend money on supply drops. Now let's be real, supply drops are never ever going to go away, no matter how much you beg them on Twitter. The developers are here and Activision is here just to make money. They don't really care about the game they make. And if people carry on buying these supply drops, then they've got no reason to remove them.
I don't think about yesterday. Every move is calculated. This shit ain't no guessing game.
So in conclusion, Call of Duty is a bad game, but it's a bad game that no one's ever going to stop buying, and that's why it will never die. And I myself pre-order this mess every single year, and I admit Call of Duty World War II is a big step up from Infinite Warfare, but it really is the same game every year, right? And now I'm going to prove that to you. I'm going to show you a clip now from Call of Duty World War II and Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, which were made by the exact same people. Now, if you really don't think Call of Duty is the same game every year, or the same game every time the same developer makes it, then have a look at this. So in most Call of Duty games, there's I don't really want to call it a glitch, but it shouldn't work, but it does, right? So in the top corner somewhere, top right or top left, I don't know how I'm going to put it yet, you'll see the controller, right? And in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, there was a glitch where if you pressed Y and then your equipment button, so either your tactical or your, I think, lethal, and then you press Y again straight after, then you would instant swap to your other weapon, right? And this works in, I think, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 1, and I think that's it. But there was a glitch in the game that if you did this and then press Y straight after, your gun would instant swap back to the gun that you just swapped from. Now, I explained that really bad, so I'm just going to show you how it looks. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think that's meant to happen. Now, this wouldn't really annoy me, to be honest, because it looks quite cool when you go for trick shot. I mean, I used to trick shot back in like 2014, but still. But take a look at this clip from Call of Duty World War II, right? I'm going to show the controller camera again, just so you can see what I'm doing. Now, if you insta-swap and then press Y straight after, the exact same thing happens. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think something like that would be in 2 games in a row from the same company, unless they were completely copying the code or just something from one game to another, which leads me to believe that they don't make each game from scratch every year. Now, I know Call of Duty has an engine in that. It obviously runs on, like, Battlegrounds runs on Unreal Engine 4, for example. I mean, I'm not sure what the Call of Duty engine is, but obviously it's got one, right? But this same glitch does not happen in Black Ops 2, does not happen in Black Ops 3, and it's only happened in the games that are from Sledgehammer, right? And that makes me think that these are the exact same games every single year, right? They just go into Advanced Warfare, edit a few guns, edit a few maps, and just call it, give it a different name, and that's how it's done, right? And they're literally charging like 50 quid, 60 quid for the same game, just with a few new guns and maps every single year, and people are still buying it. And that right there is the problem with Call of Duty. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. I'm out. Peace.
Like, what's next? What's that? What's up? Yeah. I just want chill, drink, smoke, fuck. Yeah. Cause goddamn, that body there goes as fuck. Somehow you hot as hell, but still cold as fuck. You know the deal, you know what's up. You ain't the only one. You knew that. Yeah. Everything I see up in my